Now, we are going to talk about the insanity of Portland in this video and a specific violent instance that actually happened in Portland quite recently. I believe I first heard about it when I was in Milwaukee for the Better Discourse event. But as per usual, I will not be able to show you clips of the alleged incident that I'm talking about, although I will be referencing it extensively. And for those of you who are new and don't remember what happened when I wanted to make a video about Chaz, I tried everything possible to blur out violence, to blur out any bad material in order to be compliant with YouTube's terms of service, and then they decided to label what was clearly blurred out violence to meet their TOS as blurred nudity. This was so absurd, by the way, that I decided to reach out to YouTube creator support, tell them about my issue, and I got a second review for the video where the YouTube gods decided to double down on this absurd notion. Clearly and obviously, it wasn't blurred nudity, but this is where I'm at, so I can't really show clips because YouTube will punish me for showing them uncensored, and if I censor them, they will punish me for something that I didn't do, even though there's a clear and logical reason why I'm censoring those clips. So yeah, we have to do this video, we have to talk about this craziness, but we have to deal with YouTube's craziness. And by the way, if I get hit, special thank you to my patrons, my Subscribe Star subscribers, my YouTube members, my one-time donors on PayPal and Venmo for making important videos like this financially viable when YouTube, just decides that they want to crush them. But enough about the craziness of YouTube and the craziness of online platforms and censorship. For a brief moment, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the craziness that's going on currently in Portland, Oregon. For those of you who are unaware, they're on about day 90 plus, I'm not even counting anymore, straight of rioting since the death of George Floyd, which happened in Minneapolis, not Portland. And despite the fact that the federal troops, which according to the media, the, myth being put forward by the media, were the cause and escalator of that rioting, the rioting has actually increased in frequency. Like, the number of times that they declared riots in the city of Portland has gone up since the withdrawal of the federal law enforcement as compared to when they were there. Now, this should surprise nobody who has an IQ above room temperature, because they were rioting before the federal troops were deployed. The federal troops were deployed to protect the federal courthouse, which was an escalation on behalf of Antifa, who the mayor of Portland has been letting do whatever they want, essentially, for the last 4 or 5 years. So this has nothing to do with the federal troops supposedly escalating that, and if you believed in that, then you're just dumb. That's just what I have to say. There's no other explanation. You're not paying attention. You don't understand how basic cause and effect work. You have it completely backwards. And yeah, it's been completely and utterly disproven. Well, during some of these Portland riots that are ongoing and still happening right now to this day, there will be more rioting tonight, whether I upload this video the day that I'm shooting it or the next day due to monetization delays. There will be rioting the night of this video. You can just look it up on the internet. And part of this rioting involved a very violent instance where one Marquise Love, and I'm going to say allegedly because a lot of the articles are saying it's alleged even though this is clearly caught on video, mercilessly and in an unprovoked manner attacked Adam Hayden in the streets of Portland. And the reason I need to emphasize that this attack was merciless and unprovoked and actually racially motivated. Marquise attacked Hayden because of his race, because he was racist against Adam Hayden's race. That's why he was attacked. Is because the media initially was reporting this merciless and unprovoked attack incredibly terribly. Now, there is full 100% coverage. There's full footage of this attack. You can see from beginning, middle to end, every single thing that happens, every single step that led up to this. And it was filmed, by the way, not by some third-party evil racist trying to do a narrative that's anti-Portland, but by the attackers and the people around the attackers themselves. And it's undeniable that there was no fight, despite the fact that the media is wrongly reporting that this man was injured in a fight. He has to, actually throw a punch, engage in a fight in any way whatsoever for it to be a fight. It wasn't. It was an attack. And the media also decided to randomly go through this guy's Facebook page, this man who is brutally beaten on the street of Portland, this man who is kicked from behind by Marquise Love, the man who viciously attacked him due to racist reasons. and find something on his Facebook to claim that he had some responsibility in his own attack, when he had, let me make this 100% clear, zero responsibility whatsoever in his own attack. He was mercilessly attacked by Marquise Love, let me say it a million times like it's propaganda so you can get it through your heads, based on his innate racial characteristics. Again, if you don't believe me, if you're having trouble digesting this, you don't have to take my word for it. There are plenty of videos that cover this incident fully throughout. Again, beginning, middle, and end, all captured from the perspective of the attackers in the videos that they decided to take and put up on the internet. There's no question about it who was the aggressor and who was the victim. Also, Adam Hayner was not the first person targeted by Marquise Love and his friends for a hate crime that night. He in fact was the fourth. The entire reason that these individuals were over by the 7-Eleven where this all started and all got kicked off is because they were attacking another white person based on their race, and they ended up chasing him toward the 7-Eleven. At that point, a transgender person, also who happened to be white, ended up getting into an argument with these people, meaning these people started the argument with this person. They then beat the transgender person, robbed her of her book bag, which had all of her more important possessions that she really needed, as she said multiple times throughout the video, and beat her some more. At this point, this is when Adam ended up intervening in the fight. Now, he didn't intervene physically. He tried to de-escalate. He saw a transgender woman being attacked by 3 adult males and then multiple other people later on, by the way, and he thought this was wrong. I shouldn't let a trans woman be attacked based on her race in the streets by multiple adult males that are looking to do her physically harm. And by the way, I need to make this 100% clear. I'm not speculating on their motivation whatsoever. They outright say it, because when he intervenes, another person, or actually 2 other people, who are black males, try to intervene, and they actually get mad at these 2 black individuals for stopping them from assaulting this transgender woman, because they think that they're taking the wrong side racially in this instant. This is not speculation. These people outright say it. They state their motives as racially motivated hate. Now, as things continue to devolve throughout this incident, it is important to acknowledge that Adam Hayner at no point throughout the course of this video ever escalated. He never threw a punch. He never even took a fighting stance. He constantly just tried to calm the situation down, even when these people started targeting, due to her race, his girlfriend for a racially motivated hate crime. For those of you keeping score at home, his girlfriend would be the 3rd person in a row that these people committed a racially motivated hate crime against that evening. Now, his girlfriend ended up retreating to her own car and driving away, and at some point, Adam was able to make it back into his own car. Now, he revved his engine in order to clear a path for him to be able to drive, which he then did drive when there was absolutely nobody in front of him. But unfortunately for him, as he was driving, his power steering shorted out, and he ended up crashing into a post. Now, nobody was injured by the crash except for potentially Adam himself, but these people swarmed him anyway and proceeded to yank him out of his car. Again, even at this point, when these people have attacked 3 people that this guy knows of, including his girlfriend, they've tried to attack him. They're yanking him out of his car after they forced him into a car accident. Adam is still not being aggressive. He's still being compliant. They tell him to get on the ground, and he gets on the ground. They tell him that he can't even answer the phone when his own girlfriend is calling him, and he doesn't answer the phone. But none of this is good enough for Marquise Love, who decides, unpromptedly, without any provocation whatsoever coming from Adam, to attack him as he's sitting on the ground. And Adam just takes these punches. He's hit repeatedly by this guy who is attacking him, again, solely based on his race and not due to any provocation on his end whatsoever. And he doesn't even react, except, obviously he's trying to protect himself a little bit from the pain. He's still sitting down, he's still complying with these people who have no legitimate authority over him whatsoever, who have done everything possible to hurt him, who are actually going through his car looking for stuff to steal as they're pretending they're holding him for a legitimate purpose, and he's still complying. But that's not good enough for Marquise Love. Marquise Love then runs around the back of him because, it's a real tough guy moment when you're all crowding this guy and he can't defend himself and you still have to sneak up behind him, runs up and kicks him in the side of the head, knocking him out cold. Now again, you don't have to take my word for it. You can always go into the description box of this video, find the full video yourself, 100% coverage of this incident, to see if Adam did anything whatsoever, if Adam said anything whatsoever that justified or even marginally should have provoked this type of a reaction to him. He did not. This was a racially motivated hate crime, and the entire time they are hurling racial epithets at him. Now, the reason I'm emphasizing this so strongly throughout the course of this video is because Marquise Love actually went out and started pleading for sympathy, saying that he might go to jail, like they might victimize him, a black man in America, by putting him in jail for this fight with a white nationalist. There was no fight. The only racism was coming from Marquise and his friends, who had again committed 4 on video, possibly more, racially motivated hate crimes against white people, yet this guy was playing himself up as the victim. This guy with a rap sheet a mile long that includes domestic violence, multiple crimes that are violence against women, other ancillary crimes that this guy committed throughout his lifetime, all that led to him being in this moment, in this security vest, role-playing as somebody that actually was fighting for a cause, but in reality was just taking out his aggression and hatred based on somebody's race on a random passerby, a good Samaritan, by the way, who was intervening when he was attacking more vulnerable people than himself. Now, people started a GoFundMe for Marquise. I want to say, because I've had trouble finding this GoFundMe, that GoFundMe, the company, took down that option to raise money for this criminal. But honestly, I don't know. Just because I couldn't find it doesn't mean it's not still out there, and it doesn't have an amount of money in it. That would just make me cringe to know that people are actually donating money to this dirtbag, even though he viciously attacked somebody, and it's clear, plain, and obvious for everyone to see, and there has been no evidence submitted whatsoever to indicate any fault at all from anyone besides Marquise Love and his friends. But you never know, and there could be a GoFundMe initial fundraiser for this guy, and they might actually take down Adam's fundraiser, even though he's the actual legitimate victim. By the way, I will be linking Adam's fundraiser in the description box of this video because I saw this guy's home in his interviews, and this is not a wealthy guy. This is a poor dude that was attacked for being the wrong skin color and trying to help other people that were also being attacked for being the wrong skin color, whether he knew that at the time or not. Now, Marquise Love thankfully has been arrested. His time as a fugitive was quite short-lived because obviously this isn't the brightest guy that we're dealing with. However, he was charged quite seriously, which I do appreciate, and I don't want to downplay. He was charged with a very serious assault. I think you could have actually gone with attempted murder based on the harshness of that kick to his head and the fact that he targeted this person in a premeditated way for this attack. But I understand, just because he could have died from an attack like that doesn't necessarily mean that it's an attempted murder charge. Although Marquise felt like he possibly could have killed him when he posted his crying face Snapchat. But the point I'm trying to make by covering this video and highlighting this case specifically is that there's no hate crime charge. No hate crime charge whatsoever. You can repeatedly hear these people, the attackers of this man, the group of people that were with Marquise Love on the night just before this attack, say the reason that they're attacking him. They say we're out here for Black Lives Matter, and they're angry at another black person for trying to de-escalate a situation because he's defending a white person. If you had anything close to this, then a hate or bias crime charge would be attached instantly. Remember, the threshold for somebody attacking a black person and getting a hate crime is just them attacking a black person for any reason whatsoever, and people start speculating that it is in fact a hate crime. I mean, whatever you think of the Chauvin Floyd incident, whether you're basing your opinion on the initial footage that looks really bad for the officers, or you're looking into it with a little more detail into the autopsy report and the body cam footage that actually graze up the case a little bit, there is no evidence, even in that harsher video, that Officer Chauvin was acting out of racial malice. None whatsoever. However, that's just assumed based on the fact that Chauvin is white and Floyd happened to be black. And we see this time after time in case after case throughout this country, that is automatically always the assumption for why something happened if the races were reversed. But here in this instance, you have clear and unambiguous evidence of them targeting people, not just one time, not just 2 times, not 3 times, but 4 times in a row consecutively based on their race, hurling racial epithets at them and attacking them based on those racially hurled epithets, and we have not a whiff of a hate crime. What are they doing in Portland that they're not charging him? This hate crime case would be a layup. I know that Marquise is facing some serious charges, and by the way, deservedly so, he's facing some serious charges, but in the essence of fairness, either charge him with a hate crime or repeal the hate crime statutes across the board, because if they don't apply here, they shouldn't apply in any way, shape, or form in any other case, because that's how obvious it is based on the wall-to-wall coverage that we have from the video in this incident. Also, where's the kidnapping charge? There's a point where they yank this man out of his car and they force him to sit down in the street. And to my knowledge, if you're robbing a bank and you order people from one room into another, you will be charged with kidnapping and false imprisonment. And actually, if you go into the bank armed and you don't let anybody leave, you'll be charged with false imprisonment. But if you move people, even if it's a few feet during the commission of a crime under the threat of force, you get charged with kidnapping. Where's the kidnapping charge? Throw the book at this guy. This was a vicious attack from a multiple-time felon, and he deserves to be crushed by the legal system so that the rioters out in Portland learn a lesson that you can't attack people, destroy things, and attack people based on their race. You can't commit hate crimes in this city. Like, what are we doing if we're not throwing the book at this multiple-time felon, this former abuser of women, or I'm sorry, convicted abuser of women, who's attacking people in the streets like he's entitled to do so and taking joy in it and thinks that he's being victimized after he gets caught on video doing so? Where are the charges for the other guys? They're also attacking people on video. They're also targeting people based on their race. And it's inarguable that if not for the mob holding this guy down, threatening him, he would have been able to potentially get away from Marquise and his vicious attacks. Where are the charges? Where is the book being thrown at these criminals for the obvious crime that they committed on video? Where's the damn law and order? I don't want to hear anything about the harshness of the criminal justice system or the bias against people of color in the media when this is continually reported as a fight and people are going through Adam's Facebook posts in order to dig up something to somehow assign fault at him, despite the fact that they weren't Facebook friends and he wasn't set off by those Facebook posts, as if being set off by Facebook posts would be a justification for this vicious, unprovoked attack against him. And also, I've been looking through the Young Turks video catalog, not seeing a lot of coverage on this, not seeing them denounce this. It's weird because we all know if this were reversed the other way, the Young Turks would be covering this wall to wall. Remember when the Michigan protesters burned somebody in effigy, which I believe was a white person, and the Young Turks called that protest that hurt nobody a violent demonstration? They're probably calling this protest of peace. They probably are talking about, if they are even covering this, but maybe privately, because they would never ever show this on air, they're probably calling this Marquise Love spreading peace and love to Adam's face. Look, I'm going to be following this case. I didn't want the fact that YouTube crushes videos like this in terms of their monetization, in terms of their algorithm, prevent me from covering it, because I do think it's important. But I think it's also important what you're not seeing as a reaction to a case like this, because we all know if the races were reversed, this would be covered wall to wall across the progressive online media and the mainstream media. They would be asking President Trump about his comments on this incident if the races were reversed. But hey, those are just my thoughts. They happen to be 100% accurate. If you have thoughts, or maybe you disagree, let me know your wrong opinion down in the comments below. As usual, if you like this video, you know what to do. You know how to subscribe. You know how to support me on the support links. They're in the description box, along with all the sources. Till next time.